Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Evie Long. I'm the Deputy Director of Housing with Refugee Housing Solutions, and I'm really excited to be able to welcome you all to today's webinar with ReloShare. So we'll be doing a little bit of an intro on them, but for those of you who are not familiar with Refugee Housing Solutions, we work with stakeholders across the U.S. who support newcomers, specifically those who are eligible for Office of Refugee Resettlement services, and anybody who is a housing stakeholder that's interested in housing and supporting and increasing housing for newcomers who are eligible for Office of Refugee Resettlement or are eligible programs. Just a reminder that today's call is recorded, and folks can stay on mute, put questions in the chat, and um, we'll have time for question and answer later as well. So a little bit more info about Refugee Housing Solutions. We've been around since around 2021, supporting local resettlement providers, initial resettlement providers, folks who are serving refugees, victims of trafficking, humanitarian parolees, among asylees, among others, to find sustainable housing solutions and innovative housing solutions to support newcomers to the U.S. We have our Refugee Housing Solutions website, which has a plethora of resources on it. So we'll share those in the chat. One of the ones I really want to highlight is our housing hub and directory. We are located and have resources in all 50 states. If there's a locality that is missing, you can submit information or ask for request us to put it on there. But essentially, you're looking at a map that maps out housing resources that newcomers may be eligible for. We have things like transitional housing listed. We also even have listed some newcomer friendly housing providers, so landlords who we've talked to embedded about renting to refugees, along with a lot of other resources. So it can be a great resource if you're working with newcomers. It can also be a really good resource to share with newcomers. Maybe you have a family that's moving to a new state and they want to know what kind of resources might be around that could support them with housing. And they can look on that, and the website can be translated using the Google kind of translate directly on the web page for those who English is not their first language. And then we'll highlight, we have a housing newsletter. As I noted before, we have an enormous amount of resources, toolkits, trainings, etc. on our website. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get the updated ones, but also encourage you to look around on the website. If you're looking for something specific and you can't find it, feel free to reach out to us. We'll drop an email that you can reach out at, and we can kind of help you navigate that if you have a hard time finding it. But without further ado, I do want to introduce our speakers for the webinar today. Megan and Kayla from ReloShare. We're really excited to connect with ReloShare. They offer a lot of really great a really great model, really, for social service organizations. They have worked with, LRPs, formerly called resettlement agencies, for a long time at the local level. I'm not gonna explain what Safe Stays is. They're going to do that today, but just want to highlight that, especially in the context right now, if you are operating the program for initial resettlement, or if you're just working with newcomers in general. We're still in the midst of a housing crisis. Sometimes it's really hard to find permanent housing, and they have some really great options that work really well for organizations that are trying to get folks into safe accommodation. And they can lift some of that logistic burden that I know, especially for local resettlement providers, can be a big barrier to utilizing temporary housing. So for the program for initial resettlement, we're seeing really high arrivals the next couple of months. We know a lot of you will be utilizing temporary housing more. And for other folks, you might be working with vulnerable populations that could really benefit from the Safe Stays program. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Megan and Kayla to get us started.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Evie. My name's Kayla, and I'm here on behalf of ReloShare, joined by my colleague Megan. We will briefly introduce ourselves here in a moment, but I just wanted to first say welcome, and we are so glad you're here, taking some time out of your what I'm sure is very busy, hectic times, hectic days. So we're glad you're here to tune in, learn more about Safe Stays, hopefully get some questions answered, be introduced to this new resource that could potentially support the work that you all do with newcomers and temporary housing. So thanks for joining. And these slides will be made available after the call, as Evie mentioned, as well as the recording. So you'll have all this information on hand after our call today. So let's jump in. So we'll start with some introductions. I will pass it over to Megan, and then I will jump in and take it from there.
Hi, all. Thanks so much for having us. My name is Megan Elbin. I have been with the team here at ReloShare for about 3 years now. And prior to that, I worked in domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and trafficking services, primarily with, of course, survivors of crime, but with a large intersection working with undocumented refugees or undocumented folks and refugees and helping people who were also working with T visas or U visas. Since I've been here at the ReloShare team, I've helped lead some of our catastrophe event responses. And a lot of my job day to day right now is working with states or local service providers and helping them develop tools and processes to make it easier for them to do their jobs. That's really what I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm here, is because I want to make it easier for you all to do the important work that you do every day. I'm going to be on the call today just for some tech and chat support. So if you have questions as Kayla is sharing some information with you all, please feel free to drop them in the chat. You should be able to just go ahead and message everyone. Or if you'd like to message me directly, we'll also drop our emails in the chat so you can reach out to us directly if you'd prefer to do that. But again, yeah, feel free to drop questions in and I will answer them as we go. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Megan. And yeah, so on my end, again, my name's Kayla, and I've been with the ReloShare team for a little over 3 years now, coming up on 4, I guess. Time is moves so weirdly. But before joining the ReloShare team, I supported temporary housing efforts, specifically the use of temporary hotel and emergency hotel stays for survivors of domestic violence at the Ohio Domestic Violence Coalition. So that is how I kind of started in this work, but outside of that, have also served as a counselor at a recovery center and do some community work here in the city that I live in, Chicago. And since joining the ReloShare team, I have had a couple different roles, but in a similar role to Megan now, we have the same title, but we do similar work, sharing out what we do at Safe Stays and helping agencies and communities implement tools that can make their jobs easier when it comes to organizing and coordinating hotel stays for the folks that they are supporting. And another caveat to my role, and Megan also shares in this, in the previous roles that we held, we were actually on the other side and using Safe Stays as a tool in our day-to-day work. So in my role at the coalition, I was using the Safe Stays tool that we're about to really explore to help coordinate the stays that I was booking. And it was such a tremendous support, taking off some of the back and forth logistics, reporting, really big time saver in a lot of the day-to-day work that I was doing there. And I know Megan can also attest to that. So we kind of come from that lens as well. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit of setting the stage for who we are and why we're, having this conversation. And again, Evie, thank you so much for the invitation. Evie and I were chatting probably about a month ago at this point. And with the invitation to come and present to you all to share about Safe Stays. So we're really excited to just get to talk about this tool and walk through the ins and outs. So yeah, we will jump in. Oh, so yeah, for the agenda today, we'll be talking about ReloShare as a company and kind of our mission, how we are designed and what we do and how we support agencies all over the US. Then we'll get specific and talk about our hotel booking platform called Safe Stays. And through that, we'll jump into not only just an overview of what it does, but how it works, the process of billing, the support services that we provide alongside the tool. And then we'll take some time to walk through the actual booking site so you can really get a feel for how it works. And then we'll offer resources and next steps if you're interested in learning more, staying connected. And then we'll round out with an open format Q&A. But as mentioned, you're welcome to drop any questions in the chat throughout the duration of the call. Megan will be there ready to provide that, and some things we might answer just as we go through the slides. So we'll make sure all questions get answered. So we will now jump in. So to kind of set the stage for ReloShare as a company, we were established in about, I think, 2021 officially. And what we do at ReloShare is create housing tools for social service providers. So back in 2021, ReloShare created the Safe Stays tool, which was used as a hotel booking platform specifically for domestic violence shelters at that time who were using hotels as overflow, maybe when shelters were full or for lots of different reasons. But since that point in 2021, we have expanded out tremendously. Not only do we continue to support domestic violence and other victim advocacy programs, but we work with over 1,000 social service partners all across the country. So we support agencies that provide programs and resources for newcomers. We support homelessness organizations, other anti-violence, victim of crime services, healthcare organizations, really any type of program that's helping to connect the clients and families and individuals that they serve with temporary hotel stays. So we've expanded out a lot in the last 5 years, and we do partner with a handful of resettlement organizations presently. But that is kind of the trajectory of ReloShare and of how we've evolved. So, and in the process of building our tools, Megan and I both mentioned that we have previous background in victim advocacy and supporting housing efforts for social service programs. And that's true of a lot of our team members at ReloShare. So we come to this work having our own experiences. And not only does that help shape how we create our tools and our systems and processes, but we also are built in partnership with a couple of national organizations that serve on our Trust and Safety Advisory Council, keeping confidentiality, person-centered care at the core of how we build and implement our tools. So that's a little bit about ReloShare. So now let's jump into a little bit more about kind of our vision. Why are we a tech company that focuses on building these types of products for social service programs? And I kind of just answered that a lot of us come from the work and want to simplify the day-to-day work that it takes when doing this type of coordination for emergency and temporary housing. So both Megan and I, again, have experiences of using Safe Stays in our day-to-day processes in previous roles. And in my experience, the process of using Safe Stays versus not using Safe Stays really was a night and day difference. So we'll get into some of the logistic pieces or the administrative kind of time-consuming steps that it takes when helping to coordinate hotel stays for vulnerable populations. But the goal of ReloShare is to help create scalable solutions that answer and solve common day-to-day challenges by folks that are on the ground doing the direct support work of individuals and families. So here is our mission and vision statements, but encompassing, we serve to create innovative tech solutions supporting housing processes for social service agencies. So let's get into hotels as a specific tool that you might use to support the temporary housing coordination. Maybe this is something you all and your agencies currently offer, or maybe could see a need for, but maybe it's new and you're not really sure how it works. Maybe this is something you've done for a long time, or maybe a little bit here and there, but so to kind of set the stage before we jump into Safe Stays as a tool, hotels, we know hotels can be used for lots of different reasons to help provide a temporary safe housing for lots of different reasons. So maybe there is a family of newcomers where they are arriving and there's a couple things that need to happen before they're able to access a more permanent or stable housing. So that can be an option or a scenario in which hotels could be used. Maybe they're in crisis situations or emergency situations where someone needs to be removed from an unsafe situation, or maybe how there's issues at like a traditional shelter. Maybe it's not a good fit. All of those different reasons. Maybe it's just a couple of days before a family gets their keys or their more permanent solutions or steps are ready to go. So a hotel can kind of fill that interim gap. So that's kind of when hotels can be used. So, but we know that coordinating those types of stays aren't always the most easy or simplified or streamlined. So that is why we created Safe Stays. So Safe Stays as a product is the first and only free to use hotel booking platform that is designed specifically for social service agencies. So I mentioned we work with a ton of different types of social service programs, but we are built with some specific unique features that support the processes and the confidentiality needs of social service programs. So we offer, I'm going to kind of break down each of these features and kind of the why behind them. So zooming out, Safe Stays is a hotel booking platform. So maybe you've used any number of third-party hotel booking website that exists out there, but we are a private account-based system. So in order to access Safe Stays, it's not just available to the general public. Agencies must first create a free Safe Stays account. So you can assure that, or that's how we kind of ensure that the folks that are accessing our Safe Stays sites are social service agencies that are providing support services for their clients, not just, some just individual, right? So we have our network of over 20,000 hotel partners that have opted into agreements with us where they agree to, first of all, not ask for a credit card by the guest nor the agency. So no credit card is required by the guest or agency at any of our hotel partners. And this is really helpful because it removes the step of agencies having to either fill out a credit card authorization form or drive there in person to help get the family checked in, presenting an agency card, right? Some of the limitations of credit card limits or keeping track of who has the agency card in order to make the booking. So with no credit card required, that kind of removes that step there. So we also have about a third of all of our hotel partners are considered to be Alias-Approved. And what that means is that at those locations, the front desk won't ask the guest to show their ID when they're checking in, and they can be booked under a fake name. So this can be really helpful for lots of different instances. Maybe the individual doesn't have access to an ID. It's not safe for them to use their name. Lots of different reasons why this can be helpful. So by removing the need to show an ID, it removes the barrier that someone might face when accessing a hotel stay without having an ID. So those are our alias-approved hotels. And we'll take a look at how you can kind of delineate the two. So we have our alias-approved hotels, and then we have hotels that are not considered to be alias-approved, where folks would need to still use their ID and show their or use their real name. But again, no credit card is required at any of our hotel partners. We are also a completely free to use platform. So there's no cost, there's no membership or service fee to have or use a Safe Stays account. Your agency is only responsible for the cost of the hotel stays that you book, as well as any fees that are associated with the bookings. But there's not a service fee or a booking minimum that you have to meet in order to have the account. And then the last piece I'll mention is that we offer monthly consolidated invoicing. So to back up of how we get to that point, I mentioned earlier that agencies first have to create a free Safe Stays account. And then upon access to the account, staff members are able to log into the platform, search for, find hotels that work for the families and individuals you're supporting. And then when you find and make a selection, make the reservation request through our site, that's when our 24/7 team, who works around the clock, is ready to support any time of day or night. Our team will receive your request through our site, and then we'll actually take care of calling the hotel on your behalf to confirm the stay details with the front desk. So again, that's a really big time saver in terms of you all not having to spend your time searching, being on the phone with hotels, searching for the best rates, right? All of those things, being on hold. Our team takes care of calling the front desk to confirm the stay so that you can continue to direct your energy towards supporting the individuals and family versus hotel confirmation logistics. So at the time that we call the front desk to confirm the stay based on what your agency submitted, we pay for the stay up front. So Safe Stays will cover the cost of the booking that you submit. So, and then we'll confirm back to you once the stay is confirmed. That process is about a 30-minute turnaround time from when you submit the request to when it's confirmed, give or take a little bit, but about 30 minutes on average. So because we pay for the stay up front, I'm circling back to the consolidated billing piece. So because we pay for the stay up front, we would then issue your agency one invoice on a monthly basis, breaking down all the stays that your agency books in the previous month. So we will get into that piece here. So agencies are responsible for the cost of the stays that you actually book, and that will be sent to you on a monthly basis in a consolidated invoice. And I'm about to kind of pull up the platform so we can take a look more in depth of what it all looks like, how it works. But I do want to highlight here that these are the charges that agencies are responsible for, and we'll talk a little bit about that. One thing that kind of gets brought up sometimes is, okay, what happens if damages occur? Traditionally, agencies will be responsible for covering the cost of any damages that occur during the stay. However, we also have an option where agencies can opt into our optional protection program that we call Safe Stays Plus, that covers the cost of a range of commonly occurring damages that happen. We only see about 3 to 4% of stays booked through our platform result in damages, but no one likes to receive a $250, cleaning fee. So Safe Stays Plus helps to cover that cost for an additional about $15 a night tacked on to the nightly rate. So that covers those common damages. So did just want to highlight that there. Backtracking just a little bit. I mentioned that we work with over 20,000 hotel partners. These are some of the brand partners that we work with. And we will take a look in some specific areas to see like what hotels we actually work with in specific geographic areas. But these are some of the specific brands that we support. So extended stay is a really great option. And to have hotel options across kind of a spectrum of anything from, rooms that accommodate more extended stays with built-in kitchenettes, things like that, to kind of your more basic rooms, right? We have lots of different options. All right, so let's keep moving along here. So yeah, I mentioned Safe Stays Plus, so here's a little bit more information about that specific optional add-on there. So continuing to talk a little bit about the financial piece. So again, the platform is free to use. And on a typical folio, or those invoices, or yeah, the specific folios or receipts, the charges are itemized to show all of the specific charges. So what you'll see on a traditional Safe Stays folio includes taxes, if there's any fees, damages, all of those types of things. We also have the option for agencies to kind of tailor the way that their invoice and folio looks. So you can opt to kind of lump in and itemize and have a tax inclusive invoice and folio. So, or you can also opt to kind of tailor the way that your invoice and folio needs to look in order to satisfy grant requirements. So those are additional ways that we can, taxes need to be lumped in to show just one flat rate. We can also accommodate and tailor that to your specific needs of your agency. Speaking of invoices and folios, depending on your payment structure, agencies are able to obviously pay that one consolidated invoice on a monthly basis, or agencies are also able to pay by individual. So you can opt to pay by individual folio. So depending on how you're billing and reporting structures, we can be creative and support and accommodate the ways that your specific payment process works. So if you have a cap or an amount designated per family or per individual, so that is the more appropriate way that payment needs to be made, we are able to support that structure as well. So that is a little bit about kind of the financial piece there. And I'm going to jump over actually to the platform so we can kind of get a feel for that. And then we'll kind of circle back to talk about credits and application and all of those types of things. Okay, I'm going to pause here and just quickly peruse the chat to make sure there's anything outstanding. Megan, is there anything that came up that I can answer now, or are we good to go to continue to keep moving?
We are good to go. I will just flag that one person asked if we could send a list of Alias-approved hotels in their service area, and we are happy to do that for anyone else who wants that. Just shoot us an email and we can provide that to you.
Thank you. All right, so you all should be able to see my screen here. So this is the landing page of our booking site. This is our demo site, so this isn't like real client data or anything, but this is exactly how the actual booking site looks and works. So you can see it's a pretty intuitive format in terms of searching and seeing your actual current active upcoming stays that your agency has booked. We also have a mobile-friendly version of the site. So if you are working, in the field, or you're more so on your phone, the mobile-friendly version supports. We have a format that supports that. So it can be from your desktop or from your phone. So I'm going to just walk through a couple of the features here. So under your agency, you are able to see some specific reports, which is really helpful. You can see some of the data on your current active guests, the number of nights that you've booked, the average. You can favorite hotels or show which hotels you most like book at. But I really wanted to highlight here the users section. So once agencies create an account, there can be multiple staff members that have access to your agency's profile, and it will all be housed under your agency's account. So it doesn't have to just flow through one person. There can be multiple staff members who have accounts that are able to have different levels of access, whether it's view only or able to make bookings. So that is kind of when your agency creates an account, multiple staff members can have logins. So when you are ready to make a booking, it's super intuitive in terms of searching and the dates that you need. So for the demo today, let's just take a look. Detroit is a city that is coming to mind. So let's check out Detroit. The dates are going to default to the day that you're booking for one night, but you can obviously change that. You're welcome to make same day bookings. You're even able to make bookings that are occurring overnight. So maybe it's 2 a.m. and you need to make a stay for that night. We have a flow that supports that. So you can make a booking on the same day, or if you're like, hey, we know in a couple weeks we're going to have this, need this stay, you can do that as well. So let's just say we'll be looking for a stay through the weekend for about a week. And then here's where you designate, do they need an alias approved option or not? Let's just select no for now, so then we can filter and see the entire list, and then we can filter down and get more granular based on the needs. So once you hit search, it's going to pull all of our partners that we have available for the dates you selected. And then this is where you can, first of all, see the options as well as a map view. And then you can filter and find the option that's going to work best. So you can organize by distance or price. You'll notice this green alias approved badge designates that. So again, those are the properties where guests won't be asked for an ID and they can be booked under a fake name. Hotels that don't have that logo means that they're not alias approved, so they will need to show their ID and use their real name. If you only want to see those options, you can filter that easily. So just look out for that green logo. And then you can continue to get more specific in the needs in terms of amenities. So maybe you're looking for a hotel that supports, that's animal friendly or has a kitchen in the room, really just getting as specific as you need. So once you make those kind of distinctions, you can find a property that works well. So let's say that this extended stay is going to be a good fit. You can view the availability. This is where you'll be able to not only see photos of the property itself, amenities, more detailed description, but you'll also be able to see the different room options that are available. So making that selection based on the number of folks that you're booking for. Let's say that this full standard is a good fit. Then, because it's alias approved, you have the option to generate an alias name for them. So you can cycle through and find something that works well. You can also change the first name if you need. You can make it something that more so matches their identity. Really make it whatever is going to be a good fit. And then the guest ID, this is optional, but this is for internal agency use only. So if there's a way that you all internally identify or have like a case management ID system, naming system, you can use that here and enter that information. This will appear on the folios and invoices as they come through. This isn't shared with the hotel, but this is just a way, especially if you're booking alias names, a way to kind of like track that. Some agencies use this to spell out the specific grant that this will be billed under. Lots of different use cases for this section. The stay contact is the person from your organization that is the point of contact for this specific stay. So someone with a Safe Stays account at your program, this person will receive the communication updates from our 24/7 team. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so then second page is a couple more details. So if there are children in the room, you have the option to add their age, the number of children, the expected check-in time. If a smoking room is needed and available, you can designate that here. If there's pets or parking needs, that can be included here. Lastly, any notes that you would like to pass on to the front desk. So this can really be anything that you want to share with the front desk. This is optional. And yeah, you can use that here. So then finally, the last page is a quick review, just making sure everything looks good and accurate. And once everything looks good, by submitting your stay, this will create a stay ID generated specifically for this booking. And then your team is able to follow along in real time with the confirmation process. So as I mentioned earlier, this kicks over to our 24/7 team. Our team receives this. Based on the information you submitted, we begin calling the hotel and making the reservation on behalf of your agency for the guest. Again, it's about a 30-minute turnaround time from when you submit to when it is confirmed, give or take, right? We always want to account for hotels, maybe being short-staffed or just being really busy, a busy time of day, maybe we're on hold for a little bit. So those things to just take into consideration, but it's about 30 minutes. And our team will update in real time the status. So you can see once it's pending that we're, in the process of confirming. Once it's confirmed, this will turn blue, and that's your kind of green light for the guests, everything to be squared away. So if the updates will be created here along the way, so you'll be able to follow along with all the history of the communication that will all live here. And yeah, this is where kind of all of the details for this specific stay come through. As you can see here, there's options to make modifications to bookings that you make, right? Sometimes plans change. So if there's ever any modifications, adjustments to the booking that need to be made, they can be done directly through here. Again, our team will receive this update request. We'll call the hotel to confirm everything and make sure all the details get squared away. We have our 24/7 help team message built in directly through the site. So if you have a specific question related to this reservation, you are able to reach out directly. Let us know the nature of your question or concern. Maybe there's a question about check-in at the front desk, or you need to add an additional adult to the room. You need assistance with making modifications, right? Any of those types of things are what this can be used for. Our team will receive your question or your submission, and we will get in touch with you and work out any of the questions or make the correct updates. So very easy to get a hold of us through the site. We'll keep moving here. So obviously this is the details for one specific stay that you make, but you can also navigate to the All Stays tab to see all of the stays that are either that have been booked, are active, have been checked out by your agency. So you can also see the number of current active reservations that you have. You can use this section here to search for specific stay statuses, search for specific bookings. And you can navigate here to, again, go into this booking and say, hey, we need to add a couple days. You can go right in and make that request. Again, our team will receive this and confirm those stays. So you can really have access to the stays that your agency has booked and go in and make modifications or ask questions related to specific stays. We'll get to the billing center now here. So we'll talk a little bit about this piece. So the billing center houses all of the invoices and the folios that come through for your agency. It also is where credits are housed. So to talk a little bit about credits, there's a couple of pieces here. So your agency has the ability to pre-purchase credits upfront and then apply those credits to invoices or folios as you see fit. So this can be a really helpful option for agencies that are maybe know the exact amount of money that can be allocated toward hotel stays. So you can just purchase those credits up front, or maybe you're coming down to the end of a grant cycle and you have leftover money that can be purchased for credits. Then that money continues to live on and be applied even after the grant has ended. Those credits are available, they don't expire, and can be applied to invoices and folios. So this can be a really helpful option in those instances. But here you'll find your monthly invoices come in. They can be paid directly through ACH transfer. And then you can also access those individual folios as they come in. So we'll take a quick look at an example of a folio. Let's take a quick look. But as you can see here with the folio, it breaks down who from your program booked this day, who it was booked for, as well as the ID. And then you can see the breakdown of the charges and then the balance that will that's due later. So again, agencies are able to structure their payment by paying by invoice if that will satisfy your funding requirements, or agencies are able to, the traditional sense of paying per invoice. So that is the billing center. We also have a really robust help center with tons of frequently asked questions where you'll find answers to lots of different topics about using the platform, anything from making bookings to modifying bookings to account setup. All of those good things you can find in the help center. So I think that about covers the platform itself. I will go back to the slides, but hopefully this kind of gave a more robust picture of what it looks like to, navigate this site. All right, so I mentioned the prepaid credits. We also have a gift credits option where agencies are essentially able to create a landing page on our site for agencies to kind of promote the work that you do, engage your community in kind of fundraising efforts. You can share out on your social media, newsletters, and then community members can purchase credits on behalf of your agency. And then those credits will again be able to be applied to stays that you booked through the site. So that's just another way to kind of help build out more diverse funding options for hotels, for using hotels at your agency. And credits don't expire. And so that's, again, a really helpful piece there. This is the billing center, which we just looked at in real time, but here's just another view of that. We did the demo walkthrough. So to recap the process, again, agencies first create a Safe Stays account. And then when a booking needs to be made, using the platform to search, book, make the selection, wait for our team to confirm the details and communicate back to your team that everything is good to go. If a question pops up, you can reach out to our 24/7 support team. Once everything is squared away, that's when you have the green light to pass on the confirmation to the guest or family, and then they are able to show up to the hotel, ready to go. And then again, if questions do arise or issues do arrive at check-in or throughout the duration of the stay, our 24/7 team is again available to provide that support. Okay, I'm going to take another pause here to see if there's any questions. I think we are looking good. Megan, are we good to keep moving along? Okay, fabulous. Sounds good, sounds good. So wanting to take just a brief moment to talk about some of the agency considerations and support that not only we provide to agencies, but also support that you as agencies can provide to the families and folks that you're working with. So maybe your program has never used hotels in this sense before, or maybe you have, but it could always be helpful to brush up on the different types of policies, intakes, ongoing support, guidance provided. So we just want to take some time here to think about, okay, what are some big picture considerations to make when either you're booking hotels or considering using hotels. So related to when you're making hotel bookings, things to consider for the folks you're supporting is location, right? Proximity to places where they might be frequenting or have a need to be close to, whether it's a school, a place of worship, transportation lines, things like that. So when you're making the bookings, those are good things to consider where that will be appropriate, as well as amenities and specific needs. So do they have a pet with them? Do they need to have a kitchen in the room? What are the accessibility needs of the individuals making those booking selections? Just having those types of considerations in mind when you are making those choices for hotels. Having conversations with clients, always very important to set expectations and just kind of set the stage for open communication about the entire process and what to expect. So some conversations to kind of just, set the stage, set expectations for hotel stays and checking in, checking out, those things. ReloShare, we have created a couple of guides for having specific conversations about what the stay, what is necessary, those types of things. So we have some of those resources and guides available that we can, that are always available. But some things to just talk about with families and clients is the check-in process. So specifically with Safe Stays, guests shouldn't be asked for a credit card. If it's an Alias-Approved stay, they shouldn't be asked for their ID. And also just generally knowing to go to the front desk and that they should be expected to get their room card, right? And those types of things to just be aware of that process, right? Not always assuming that everyone has been to a hotel before. So just some of these things that might feel more like intuitive, but maybe just checking in with folks just about the process and what to expect. So having those just general conversations about check-in, but also for the Safe Stays check-in process, even more considerations, especially if the hotel maybe it's a new front desk staff person and they haven't yet been trained on the Safe Stays protocol or the Safe Stays process, and maybe they end up asking guests for a credit card or an ID, even though it's an Alias-Approved stay. We always have to account for sometimes those, it's not ideal, it's not how the process should work, but sometimes it does. But thankfully, we have lots of, processes in place to support and solve for those. So keeping the line of communication open, ensuring that your guest knows that they can contact your team to let you know that, hey, they're asking for a credit card, and then our team will reach out to the front desk to, reiterate the process and ensure that the guest can still check in without those things. So just zooming out, having that, open line of communication for what to do if an issue does arise with check-in, and knowing who to contact in those instances. Hotel policies and expectations. So talking about, quiet hours and smoking sections, right? Like if there's not a smoking room available, where can a guest safely go to smoke? So those types of things, the expected checkout time, typically 11 a.m., right? So just those types of things for like staying in a hotel, just those best practices. Use of hotel facilities. So having conversations around those types of just expectations, things like that. guides and tools provided. So things that we offer at ReloShare, we have weekly open door onboarding calls for our Safe Stays customers. So you are welcome to join in on any of those calls to have like a tutorial training, a staff refresher. We can also provide support for program design, just ongoing kind of support like that. We also have a plethora, a library of support and guest resources that are available that you can tailor to your specific program and just have on hand. So those are things that are available to you all. And then again, our team is available 24/7. So any time of day or night that you either need to make a booking or you have a question or issue concerning a specific booking, our team is there ready to support and solve those issues, challenges, or questions. So I believe that covers this section here. Megan, is there anything else that you, not to put you on the spot, but is there anything else that you would add to agency considerations or support when building out or using our platform or supporting families?
I do believe that, if I am not mistaken, that Refugee Housing Solutions also has a guidance doc on this, on like considerations for service providers. So that would be a great tool to look at on their site. If am I correct, Evie?
We should. I will share the resources that we do have
Okay.
regarding this in a follow-up email with folks. But yes, we have a lot of considerations around, yeah, booking hotels on behalf of clients and how to talk with them about temporary stays and things like that.
Perfect. Yeah, I've actually sent that to some of the agencies that we work with before, so I think that is really helpful. I think the other thing that I would say is that we have worked with a lot of resettlement agencies, LRPs, and we have gotten just really overwhelmingly positive feedback about safe stays specifically for newcomers. And so if it's something that you think might be helpful for your organization, we'd be happy to have you be part of that. And we'd also be happy to connect you with any of those agencies if you'd like to speak with another similar resettlement agency that has used us for this work.
Beautiful. Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Evie. So we're starting to wrap up here. So hopefully that was, yeah, a solid overview of how we work, what we do, and the supports that we offer. So we do have an application process, as I mentioned at the top. So if your agency is interested in creating a free Safe Stays account, I've linked the application here. The specific requirements for submitting application are listed here. It's a very straightforward, simple online form. So just wanting to kind of start to think about the next steps if you're interested. That information is all available here. So I know that there has been some questions going on in the chat, which is great. Thank you for your engagement, and thanks, Megan, for tapping in to answer. But I do want to open it up to the rest of, or if there's any questions that haven't yet been asked, or if any questions have come up since, we'll just take some time here to open the floor if any y'all have any questions.
Feel free to come off mute. I know sometimes it's easier to ask questions that way than just typing in the chat, but also feel free to type in the chat. Yes, we will be sharing the recording. So we will both share it out to all registrants and attendees, and it will also be findable on Refugee Housing Solutions website, and we'll have the slides as well available. Any other questions about ReloShare? Yes, the slide deck will be shared. We'll just add in here that one of the things that was really attractive to me as someone who has been the person on the local level making all the hotel bookings was how much ReloShare's staff handles that part. You know, being able to send the information and then make the booking and you not having to be the person calling back and forth at the hotel is a huge time saver for those who've worked in refugee resettlement. When you have a lot of arrivals, that can take up a lot of time. And you want to make sure that it's done in a way where you're maintaining a good relationship with the partner, where things aren't falling through the cracks. And so, especially for if you're understaffed, a lot of folks may not have specific housing staff anymore to do these type of bookings. And so if you are serving new arrivals or working with folks who have been here for a while, they're able to handle that part of the process in a really professional way, which can reflect nicely back on you all and also on ReloShare and on your clients as well.
I had a question for you guys. In the case of a natural disaster, if the client was booked at a hotel that was impacted by that natural disaster, are you guys able to help rebook to the closest available hotel, or would you flag that for the office to try to find another one and then you guys would take over from there?
It's a good question, Megan. I feel like you might be well equipped to answer this.
That. That's a really good question, and I think that that's the first time that specific question's been asked. If that were to happen, if the hotel were to be impacted by the natural disaster, we would reach out to the agency. However, one thing that we don't say this like super in writing or anything like that, but we have kind of this rule internally that if someone is displaced from their hotel for any reason, we are going to make sure that they get booked in another hotel, even if we can't reach that agency. So, generally speaking, we do require that agency's approval. We want to make sure you know where your guest is going, what that change is going to look like. However, if there is an emergency and we cannot get a hold of you, we are going to take appropriate measures to ensure that they have somewhere safe to be, even if that means that it ends up being more expensive. If that's not a cost that you all are prepared for, we have covered that in the past, and that's why I say we don't say that super. I know this is recorded and this will be posted, and that's fine. But I just say that because like we put a huge priority on ensuring that the guests that you're working with are somewhere safe. So our formal policy would be that we would contact you and ask you to rearrange that stay. But if for any reason, maybe you all were also impacted by disaster, your service is down, something like that, we would take every effort to ensure they have somewhere safe to be and work with you to figure out how to make that happen.
For example, if that happened and you all were the first to know, you'd reach out to us and potentially we could say, please rebook them at anywhere close, and that
Yes.
could kind of be the extent of the communication.
Yeah, we would always reach out to you all first. That's always our first plan of action, is to get that authorization and that plan from you all. But if there was no response for some reason, we would be able to step in. But again, our policy technically is that the agency is always the one making that determination and authorizing changes to a hotel room. So for example, we get emails often from guests who are saying, hey, my advocate or my caseworker booked me at this hotel and I actually want to be in a different location. In those instances, we are not changing the location of their hotel booking. We are asking you all, we're pointing them back to you all to make those determinations. The only, exception is if there is truly an emergency, we always want to make sure someone has a place to go.
I know we're about at time. Is there any other questions before we close out? I'm going to reshare this general inbox for ReloShare as well. I know Kayla and Megan have their emails here as well, but if you have additional questions or want to connect with them to get your organization set up, again, it could be a really, really great resource for ensuring that folks have temporary housing. Can also be another, if you do a lot of temporary housing, again, I think the credits option is really cool, especially that you could get folks to donate credits to your organization. So being able to use it as another way to engage donors. for housing needs is just a really great option. So I think we'll close out. If you have additional questions for refugee housing solutions or safe stays, there's a safe stays at reloshare.com or info@refugeehousing.org. We are happy to answer questions. We will share along some resources attached to this training, and this will be public accessible in case you have colleagues, or maybe there's another organization you say, hey, we're not utilizing this, but there is an org in our city that this would be really, really great. We would love for you to kind of share this with folks that you know, because we know it's a really great resource. So I think we'll close out for the day. So thank you again, ReloShares, Kayla and Megan, so much for your time today. Thank you everybody for joining today. This was super informative, and I hope folks will be able to connect and utilize these wonderful services that you all are providing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you for
y'all.
having us.
Bye.